Now at 6, the Fort Scott area is in the process of cleaning up after heavy rains bring flooding. Plus a different problem to the Neosho River, a massive logjam. And a number of Oklahoma communities deal with the aftermath of dozens of tornadoes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Some communities across the 4 states are cleaning up flood damage from those weekend storms. This is KOIM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. Areas around Fort Scott, Kansas are among the worst hit by flooding. KOIM's Amber Jenkins has more.
This was one of the worst floods we've had in a while. 1986 was the worst flood that I've ever witnessed. I've been here 54 years, and that was the worst flood where the water crested at 52 feet, and this one crested right around 47.5 feet.
Fort Scott City Manager Bradley Mackin thanks local emergency services for their assistance during the severe weather and flooding. City officials are now focusing on cleaning up.
I don't think the cleanup is going to last that long. We've got a couple roads that have to be redone to repair those once we get started on them, but we have to get to that point. But the overall cleanup won't take more than a week, and we'll be back to normal business.
It's not just city and county workers dealing with the aftermath. Workers at Pete's convenience store on US 54 cleaned up over a foot of flood water.
Came down to check on the place because it was flooded really bad yesterday, and showed up, and I didn't think it was going to be this bad, but it's pretty bad.
The convenience store was in 18 inches of flood water.
We're having to pull almost every single product that was 18 inches at that 18-inch level because we have to waste it out and everything and get all the mud and everything off the floors. They have to rewire everything inside.
Residents are eager to clean up and for water levels to return back to normal because navigating across town is tricky.
Then the river overflowed down there by the bridge. It was rolling over the river, so it couldn't come down here. And I don't know, it's a mess.
Reporting in Fort Scott, Amber Jenkins, KOIM News.
According to the city manager, the bulk of the cleanup should take less than a week. Damaged roads, they say, will be repaired. Heavy rains are also causing issues in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. Look at this. This is video of the Neosho River at Twin Bridges State Park. As you can see, debris and logs have gathered in the river for about the length of 2 football fields, causing that massive jam. The city of Miami says it's not aware of any plans by ODOT or GRDA to remove the debris or close the bridge at this time. City of Fredonia, Kansas has some tips for property owners recovering from this weekend storms. One is to clear gutters and drains so water can flow more freely away from your home. Also, seal your windows and doors to prevent water infiltration, and inspect your sump pump to make sure it can handle excess water if needed. Let's check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney now for our first look at the weather.
Well, we finally have a break in all of the storms today. Clear skies, temperatures getting up to 77 out in Joplin and surrounding counties, mid-70s range. So we did have that break, and that continues into tomorrow as well, but we do have storms returning tomorrow evening. Not to mention a couple flood warnings still in effect until Wednesday morning and Wednesday evening, and we could see some issues with those storms moving in. They are set to move in those northern counties, so we'll keep an eye on the flood levels for that since they've already seen quite a bit of rain in the pink-blue areas. That is 7 to 9 inches, and in this gray area, that's northwest of Nevada, got up to 15 inches of rain. Not to mention we saw a few tornadoes touch down. Now, Wichita National Weather Service is still doing flood warnings and issuing flood warnings for the surrounding counties, so they have yet to do any surveying, but Springfield has gone out and surveyed a couple tornadoes. One out in Stotesbury, which is in Vernon County, had an EF1 tornado, went about 3 miles, and then the second out in Uniontown, which is in Bourbon County, is an EF0, also went about 3 miles. So we'll have more details on the tornadoes and weather to come up next.
Thanks, Lindsay. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt has issued a state of emergency declaration for 12 counties because of damage from those tornadoes across the state. Experts say at least one of those tornadoes was an EF3 in the town of Sulphur, southwest of Tulsa. Downtown Sulphur was torn apart with winds reaching at least 140 miles an hour. One person there was killed. Stitt says the damage in Sulphur is the worst he's seen as governor, and it's fortunate more people weren't hurt.
Thank goodness it was a downtown, that there wasn't a lot of people here at 10:30 at night, and you know, it doesn't do anything for the one family members that was lost.
2 other people were killed when a tornado tore through the town of Holdenville, Oklahoma, southeast of Oklahoma City. Justin Ayers shows us the devastation the storm left behind.
State Highway 48 north of Holdenville is blocked to the public. And that's for the better. We traveled down it with permission and saw down power lines, utility crews, and lots of tree damage. Go down dirt roads along its sides, and you'll see devastation firsthand. It's where I found Melissa Marquardt. What kind of damage?
The front and side of the barn were completely removed from the barn. Thankfully, the mobile home and the shop are completely fine.
Then there were some homes that looked like this. The roof was blown over, and the home's siding ripped off by the door. Just 2 minutes up the road, I found a similar situation. To give you an example, the trailer home that sat over there to my right is now all the way over there to the left. That's the debris from the home, completely leveled. Out of respect for the family, I'm not going to show you the exact property, but this is the area where Hughes County Emergency Management says a 4-month-old died when the storm took a direct hit on a family's mobile home. The Hughes County Emergency Management said an adult also died from the storm.
My heart goes out to them. Yeah. Absolutely. I know losing a kid is never okay.
In typical Oklahoma fashion, I saw plenty of people checking in on one another and lending a helping hand. You seem like it's okay.
You know what? I'm okay. My pets are okay. All my livestock's okay. Everything else is replaceable.
Altogether, statewide, at least 4 people were killed by the weekend tornadoes in Oklahoma. The Riverton Rams take on Columbus in a Monday afternoon doubleheader. John Dale's going to have highlights of that game and more coming up later in sports. But up first, some parents and students in Joplin are dealing with a sudden change to school bus routes. Some parents and students in Joplin are seeing changes to their bus routes. KYM's Samantha Walker has more on how families are handling this sudden change.
No problems, no issues. And then here recently, matter of fact, last Wednesday, received a letter stating that they will no longer be able to ride the bus.
For more than 2 years, Nicholas Hyatt's sons have been registered and riding the bus to school. But last week, Hyatt received a letter from the Joplin School's Transportation Department informing him that his son's bus stop was found to be in a no-bus zone, meaning students are expected to be able to walk. The letter informed him that starting now, Hyatt must find alternate transportation for his son.
Concerned about how I'm going to get them back home safely. I'm not big on them walking.
The head of the Joplin School's Department of Transportation says the department regularly goes through their system and finds students who should be walking instead of riding the bus. He says the district is doing so to ensure they are being as cost-effective as possible. The department says they try to give families 4 to 5 days notice before students are no longer able to ride. But Hyatt says for many parents that just isn't enough time.
I'm just a single father, and I also work out of Neosho. So it makes it a little bit harder. We recently just moved up here 3 years ago. There's not a lot of family help around here for myself, and I'm sure it's the same thing for other parents around the community.
For now, Hyatt says he will be using his lunch break to drive from Neosho to pick up his son from school. Reporting in Joplin, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The Joplin Schools Department of Transportation says they're continuously looking for ways to make their system more efficient. They say one way to do that is to identify and eliminate bus rides for students who live within their walk zone. A little bit later, a big day for Crowder baseball. John Dales has details on a milestone for the Rough Riders head coach in sports.
And we have a break in the storms, but it is short-lived. More storms return Tuesday. I'll have more details right after the break. We had a very chaotic weekend, but luckily today is a lot calmer. Taking a look outside at the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, or from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, a nice shot of downtown Joplin, not a cloud in sight. So very nice day after all of the storms that we had. Not to mention, we still have a few flood warnings in effect until Wednesday morning and some Wednesday evening out in the Allen Wilson and Woodson counties and surrounding counties as well. So we'll keep an eye on those, not to mention Fort Scott. I know they are dealing with a lot of flooding as well. We've had a few tornadoes already be surveyed by Springfield. Now, Wichita National Weather Service is dealing with all of the flooding in this general area, so their surveying has been taking a little bit longer. So we're going to wait a couple of days to see about the tornadoes that touched down near Fredonia and Independence. But we had a couple reports from Springfield out in Stotesbury, which is in Vernon County, and EF1 winds about 95 miles per hour, wind about 3 miles as well. And then a second tornado touched down in Bourbon County in Uniontown, EF0, so about 85 miles per hour winds. Not as strong, but both did have some housing damage and trees uprooted and damaged as well. Now, I know Oklahoma City got a lot of tornadoes and they continued into Arkansas last night. That's when they were getting the brunt of the storms, but we're clear for the next day and a half. Storms start to roll in Tuesday evening, but tonight looking pretty good. Temperatures getting to the upper 50s across the region. Few clouds here and there, but overall, really great evening. Now, storms again tomorrow night and Wednesday. Low to elevated risk, unfortunately. The main threat is back in the counties that already received the most amount of rainfall. So looking in southeast Kansas or our northwestern parts of our counties, seeing elevated risks tomorrow and on Wednesday. But that doesn't start till later on in the evening on both days. So starting your day tomorrow, going to be pretty nice. Clouds here and there, but temperatures warming up to the 70s again. Another gorgeous day tomorrow before those storms start to roll in. And we're taking a future track, looking to see when those storms are going to start to roll in. So this is 6:30. We see them starting to clip into Yates Center and those surrounding counties. A few isolated thunderstorms are expected. It's not going to be widespread, and if you're in Joplin or south, you probably won't even see a drop of rain. But we are going to see some of these storms start to push in to the area. This is 2 a.m. on Wednesday, a few stronger storms, and then they'll start to move off to the east and dissipate by early Wednesday morning. This is 7:30, so if you're up in those northern counties, may still have some rain to deal with in the morning on Wednesday, but it does clear out. We're going to have a nice day during the day on Wednesday, getting up to nearly 80 degrees, and then more rain starts to roll in Wednesday evening. Now, our main threat for storms is going to be on Thursday. We've got more widespread thunderstorms across the day, but temperatures looking good. 80s for the next couple of days, dropping just a bit after those storms on Thursday down to the low 70s. And then we've got another round of storms next weekend into early next week.
Just what we don't need. By the way, you and Doug Hetty did a great job over the weekend keeping
you.
us informed, and we do appreciate it.
Of course. Well, maybe we won't have to do it next weekend, but if we do, we'll be here.
All right. Thanks, Lindsay. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment has issued a stream advisory for part of the Verdigris River because of an oil well spill. The advisory is from 75 Highway east of Neodesha, Kansas in Wilson County to the Oklahoma state line. KDHE says people should not allow children, livestock, or pets to enter the stream. Still ahead, Riverton and Columbus baseball play a doubleheader on Pitt State's campus, and the Chiefs signed Travis Kelce to an extension. John Daniels has those stories and more up next in sports.
Riverton High School baseball enters today the number 2 ranked team in Class 3A. The Rams have won 8 of their last 9 games, bringing their record up to 18-3 on the year. Now this afternoon they play a doubleheader at Pitt State. Riverton baseball facing Columbus at Al Ortolani Field. Game 1 of a doubleheader. We start in the top of the first, 1 out, bases loaded, and Noah Harper induces a ground ball, which leads to a 4-6-3 double play. Rams get out of the inning without allowing a run. Bottom of the second, 2 outs now, and Carter Woodcock hits a line drive into right field. That's going to get down. A run will come in to score. The Titans score 3 in the second. They take a 3-1 lead. Top of the third, Riverton responds. Will Mann sends one into shallow right field. That drops down. Leads cut to 1. Bottom of the third, Columbus with runners on first and third, 2 outs. Ben Major caught in a rundown, but while he's being chased, another run scores before he gets tagged out. as we come on the air. Game 1 still going on. They're in the final inning in Pittsburgh, and Columbus leads 7-4. Over in Neosho, Crowder Baseball has his final regular season home game today. Rough Rider head coach Travis Lallement enters the day with 799 career wins. But Neosho County not making things easy on Coach Lallement and the Rough Riders. The Panthers lead 7-4 on the road in the 8th inning. Game not finished yet. Rough Riders trying to put together a late comeback. We'll have more on this one later tonight at 9 and 10. Over in the NFL, the Chiefs and Travis Kelce agreed to a 2-year extension today, and the 3-time Super Bowl champ was already under contract through the end of the 2025 season, but this 2-year extension will keep him in Kansas City through the end of the 2027 season, at which point he'll be 39 years old. According to NFL Network, the new deal will pay him just over $34 million in the final 2 years, which makes Kelce the highest paid tight end in the league. In the NBA, the Thunder have made quick work of the Pelicans thus far in their first-round playoff series. This evening, OKC has the chance to complete a 4-game sweep. Game 4 between Oklahoma City and New Orleans set to tip off at 7:30 local time this evening. Game 1 between these two was a nail-biter. The Thunder pulled out that one, a 2-point win at the buzzer. But in the last 2 games, they've won by a combined 53 points, the Thunder have, and OKC is a 4.5-point favorite on the road tonight. Again, that game just over an hour away from beginning. A win this evening would go a long way in providing the Thunder some rest ahead of the next round. They would play the winner of the 4-5 matchup, which is between the Clippers and the Mavericks. That series currently tied 2 games apiece and will continue until at least this Friday. That's a look at sports. We'll be back after this.
Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. The Carthage City Council calls an emergency meeting to discuss the removal of the city administrator and impeachment of the mayor. Plus, why driving around high water barricades might cost you more than you think. And the USDA announces new testing measures as bird flu spreads through cattle herds all across the country. Those stories, a lot more, of course, it's coming up tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. You can get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone. It doesn't cost a thing. You'll find it where you get your apps. Just search for KOAM Skywatch weather app. That certainly would have been valuable this weekend. Of course, if you were watching on YouTube, you know that Lindsay and Doug were streaming live for hours and hours. It was a long weekend.
It was, and we had a few tornadoes touch down, but National Weather Service still doing some surveying on those. We have a couple more days of storms later on this week, starting tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and all day on Thursday. So get prepared for all of that, especially after this weekend.
Not much time to dry out. Final sports note.
Big day for Crowder softball as well. The Rough Riders sweep 2 games over St. Charles Community College. They move on to regionals.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.